Moving on to our next big story, Bangladesh on the ball, and here on NDTV, we have been getting you the latest and minute-by-minute updates of all that is happening in Bangladesh. In the latest, the Yunus-led interim government has ordered probe on Usman Hadi's murder because as of now, Hadi's killers have not been traced. Not just that, Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi has temporarily suspended all consular and visa services due to security concerns. According to reports, the suspension will remain in effect until further notice. Meanwhile, the Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Pranay Verma, visited the Indian Visa Application Center in Dhaka and further reviewed the functioning of the visa services there. And all this at a time when there seems to be no end to massive demonstrations in the streets of Dhaka. This after the death of prominent Bangladeshi radical youth leader Usman Hadi, which triggered the widespread unrest in the country. And the demonstrations just don't end there, because just today, another second radical leader was shot in his head in Khulna. Today, he has not been shot dead because he is right now in a hospital in Khulna. Meanwhile, former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has blamed the Yunus-led interim government for failing to maintain law and order following the killing of student leader Usman Hadi. Hasina further goes on to say that the tragic killing of Usman Hadi reflects the lawlessness that uprooted my government and has multiplied under Yunus. These are the words, the statements by the by the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh. All right, let's now give you a lowdown of all that's happening in Bangladesh so far, what all has happened today. Number one, the Bangladesh High Commission in Delhi has now suspended its services until any kind of further notice. Then, apart from this, the second aspect which has happened today in the Bangladesh turmoil is the fact that Dhaka Center minority groups, that's the minority groups, they have been protesting in Bangladesh over the government's failure. Apart from this, the Benapole border, which is the border between India and Bangladesh and is extremely crucial, is on a high alert as we speak. And like I mentioned, Bangladesh has been in a state of turmoil in the last few days, and yet today there have been demonstrations taking place. Another second radical leader shot in head in Khulna district. That's when this took place. His name is Mohammad Sikdar, who was shot in head in Khulna district in Bangladesh today. And well, as far as Usman Hadi's killing is concerned, 9 arrests have taken place in connection with attacks on Daily Star, which is a leading media house there in Bangladesh. And while all of these mayhem has been happening in Bangladesh, Hasina has given out a statement. She says hostility manufactured by Yunus regime. The former Prime Minister of Bangladesh has clearly blamed the Yunus-led interim government for all that's happening in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the police officials have clearly said that there is no information on the whereabouts of prime suspect of Usman Hadi's murderers at this point of time. And this, as just a short while ago, Yunus released a statement saying that there will be a probe on the murderers of Usman Hadi. All right, for more on this, my colleague Saurabh Gupta is now joining me live. Saurabh, just around 30-odd minutes back, the interim leader of Bangladesh, Mohammad Yunus, released a statement saying that there will be probe on Usman Hadi's murderers. And this at a time when the police has clearly said that they perhaps cannot track the killers of Usman Hadi. In your assessment, where do things stand in Bangladesh, and who is in fact in charge of all that's happening in Dhaka?
Well, clearly when it comes to mobs and street justice, the radical Islamist groups are having a field day. They're running amok, and frankly, the government doesn't seem to be in a position to control them. Now, why has Mohammad Yunus announced what he has done? It is, of course, to address the concerns, because remember, the threats now no longer are limited to opponents. they're directed also towards members of his government, including the demands for resignation of the Home Advisor, and also threats have been coming towards the interim government saying if the killers of Sharif Usman Hadi are not apprehended, then we will even remove the interim government. That's the kind of power that radical forces in Bangladesh are currently exercising, and that's what is worrying for everyone. For the BNP, because even their leaders have been targeted, for even the NCP, the National Citizens Party, which is an offshoot of the revolution or the protest that took place in July 2024, they have now been given armed security because their leaders are also being targeted. And many of these leaders who are being targeted are also people who have taken anti-India positions. But at this point, all of this points to one thing. Muhammad Yunus, at the cost of historic relations with India, pushed for closer ties with Pakistan. And this perhaps it was playing out on the streets of Bangladesh. There are ISI officials there. There are Pakistani establishment people who want radical Islam to take center stage in Bangladesh, who don't want these elections also, who want these elections to be delayed. Because remember, right now, the leading party is the BNP. It's not the Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh, who was mainstreamed by Muhammad Yunus, whose registration to participate in the elections was also reinstated by the Muhammad Yunus government. So it is a situation where the radicals seem to be having the last word, at least, and the government seems to be losing control.
Absolutely, Saurabh, and we'll wait and have to see as Bangladesh descends into chaos if the Yunus-led interim government will be able to bring in calm and perhaps restore great ties with India. But thanks for sharing your insights with us on Newsnight.